Friends, it's time again to grab a hold of your Bible and turn to the Gospel of John. We're continuing our journey in John chapter 2. Last time we discovered that John often helps us to correct misconceptions that we sometimes have. Some people would think water into wine. Is Jesus talking about giving us permission to drink responsibly or even to party hard? That's even worse, right? Because when the wine ran out, he created more wine, and we discovered the meaning of that miracle is so much more profound than that. And so when we look at the cleansing of the temple in John 2 verse 12 and onwards, we realize very quickly that there are two misconceptions there that people have as well. The one is that Jesus got angry. He made a whip of cords, right? And so Jesus giving us permission to, when it kind of is the right place and time, we can lose our temper and get super upset with our spouses or children or whatever. Or another perception that people have is that Jesus is helping us with this cleansing of the temple to understand that we cannot just buy or sell stuff on a Sunday at church. We should not have all these books and DVDs and some cake for a fundraiser for the youth or whatever that we are selling. Those things are not what, it is not what Jesus wants. So let us dive into this incredible thing that happened there at the temple and see if John can help us to understand this a little better. So we read John 2:12. After this is Jesus, went down to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days. And when it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and in the temple courts he found men selling cattle, sheep and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. So what is the context here? Because I truly believe that will help us to get to the heart of this passage. It is Passover time. What does that mean? It means this is this incredible feast. It is a feast where many animals were slaughtered, yes, and blood would flow. However, it was also a joyous celebration because the sacrifices would bring the opportunity for people's relationships to be restored with God. I have committed this sin, I have all this guilt in my life, I feel horrible about what I did. I'm going to go down to the temple, I'm going to take my perfect and pure animal, it's going to be sacrificed. People who are pure before God, the priest is going to help me, and when the blood of that sacrifice is flowing, it is going to help me to restore this precious relationship with my Father. I will be able to connect with him again in a close and precious and pure and holy way, and I'm going to go back to my home and be encouraged and have spiritual strength again to tackle the next thing. So this was a great feast. However, the place where you needed to do that was at the temple. The temple was in Jerusalem, in the province or the area of Judea, way down south in Israel. So imagine you lived close to where Jesus grew up. You're living there in the area of Nazareth, right there at the Sea of Galilee, in the area that was also called Galilee. If you would live there and you'd have to travel all the way down to the temple, it might have been difficult for you to take your animals with you all the way. Imagine no trucks to put your animals in, right? You have to walk. Perhaps some of the weaker people, older people or women would be on a donkey. To travel all the way from the north, from Galilee, through the area of Samaria. Remember where Jesus meets the Samaritan woman, which we're going to learn about soon in John chapter 4. Down through Judea until you are finally at Jerusalem. And then get through all the people, thousands of people that came to bring sacrifice over Passover time, to finally get to the temple. Many things could happen in that time. Something could go wrong with your animal. And remember, you had to bring an animal that's perfect, that's pure. So there was a big risk to travel with your animal all that while and something could go wrong. A easier way would be to take some money with you. Get to the temple and the priests know about this problem. So the priests and the Levites have already gathered some cattle and sheep and doves. Animals are there, they are ready. So you simply bring your money, purchase your animal, make your sacrifice. Relationship is getting restored and there's a closeness between you and God again. The blood of the animal opens up a door for you again, so that you can have this great relationship with your Father again. No problem. However, we read that there were also exchanging tables. People sitting at tables exchanging money. What on earth is this about? Why did they have to exchange money? They are in the same country. They are in Israel. Why do they need to exchange money? You see, dear friends, in the temple, you could only use Jewish money. That was the belief. Only Jewish money would be acceptable to God. Only Jewish money would be pure. So that was the rule that they had. However, at this point in time, Israel had been invaded by the Greeks at some point, so Greek money kind of went into the country and became part of a system. The Greeks were conquered by the Romans, and now you have Roman coins going around. So in Jesus' time specifically, we have Roman rule, right? The Jews want Jesus to be crucified, but the Roman emperors need to say, okay, you can crucify him. Then we have the Roman soldier standing there at the grave. You will remember all of this. So imagine you have a couple of Roman coins. You need to exchange those Roman coins for Jewish money, for perhaps a shekel or so. So imagine that you have one Roman coin, and the value at that point of one Roman coin equals 5 Jewish coins, 5 shekels. One Roman coin, 5 shekels. Let's say, just to keep it simple for the sake of argument, that the exchange rate, one Roman coin for 5 shekels, the price of cattle is 10 shekels. So let's say you committed a sin. The law says that you need to sacrifice a cattle. And so you come all the way from the north, travel south, you have your 2 Roman coins with you. You are so excited. With your 2 Roman coins, you'll be able to purchase some of the cattle, and you are just ready for this. You cannot wait to get rid of this sin, this guilt, have your relationship with God being restored. So you show up at the temple, you're finally in the front of the line, you offer your 2 Roman coins, you hold your hand out, ready to receive the 10 shekels so that you can go over to the cattle and buy some of the cattle. And the Levi there tells you, sorry, but you do not have enough money. And you go like, but the exchange rate is 1 Roman coin for 5 shekels. The cattle is costing 10 shekels a piece. Here is my 2 Roman coins. And they say, oh, no. But today, the exchange rate is actually 4 shekels for 1 Roman coin. You see, they wanted to make some money. The priests and Levites devised a plan. This is a great time, right? All these thousands and thousands of people coming. If we change the exchange rate just a little bit, we will be able to get more money and keep more of our shekels, hand out less of it because the exchange rate is in our favor. So you go like, oh, okay. So for my 2 Roman coins, I can only get 8 shekels. Yes, only 8 shekels. Well, that means I cannot afford some of the cattle anymore. How about the sheep? Oh, great news. The sheep is only going for 5 shekels a piece today. Oh, okay, great. Well, I'll purchase a sheep. And so, great news. Problem solved. I can get my sheep, I can make my sacrifice, and everything is okay. Imagine though that you are poor. There were a lot of poor people. In the time of when Jesus came to earth, we read that probably about 70% of the people lived below the poverty line. Dear friends, a lot of people were really poor. The poor people most of the time could only afford a dove. Let's say, for the sake of argument, a dove would go for 5 shekel. So you are really excited. You can only afford a dove. So you are very, very excited because you can now go down to Jerusalem and you can purchase your dove. So you go all the way down. You are so excited. You only have 1 Roman coin. You go up to the exchange table, offer your Roman coin, and you get this news: you cannot afford your dove, because your dove is 5 shekels, and today with the exchange rate you only get 4 shekels, so you cannot afford your dove. And now that I say that, I realize, dear friends, that when I gave the example of the sheep, I said 5 shekel for a sheep. So let's rather say that the sheep was 8 shekel. So you could afford a sheep still. If you gave your 2 Roman coins and you only got 8 shekels back, you could afford your sheep. Okay, but now you have a big problem. Cattle is going for 10 shekels. The sheep is going for 8 shekels. So if you came down with your 2 Roman coins, you can still afford the sheep. But you have a big problem now. The dove is 5 shekels. You came with your Roman coin, your 1 Roman coin, because you are poor, thinking that at least you are okay. You'll be able to afford the dove. You'll be able to be reconciled with your God again. And then when you exchange for money, the Levi only gives you 4 shekels. And you go like, but I need 5. Well, today the exchange rate is 4 shekels for 1 Roman coin. But with 4 shekels, I cannot buy my dove. Well, then you need to go and you need to find another shekel. Where will you find it? All the people around you, most of them, are poor too. Those who have money need it for their own sacrifices. So you need to turn around. The door shut in your face. No access possible to restore your relationship with God. And you need to turn away and walk out of there. You came all the way from Galilee down there, hoping, praying, so excited that finally you can buy that dove. Your relationship with God can be restored again. But now you cannot afford it. The dove is 5 shekels, the sheep 8, the cattle 10, you only have 4. Friends, now I think it starts to make sense a whole lot more when we read. So Jesus, verse 15, made a whip of cords. He drove all from the temple area, both sheep and cattle, scattered the coins of the money changers, overturned their tables. And I think it makes more sense now why he specifically speaks to those who had the doves, right? To those who sold the doves. He said, get these out of here. How dare you turn my father's house into a market? Now we understand why he got so upset. This is not just an anger. Oh no, verse 17 helps us here because the disciples remembered what was written in Psalm 69 verse 9. They says, zeal for your house will consume me. You see, this is not just about anger. No, this is about a divine zeal. This is about Jesus that is so deeply hurt that people don't have the opportunity to connect with God. They come to the temple, the place where connection with God is supposed to be restored, and it cannot be restored because the exchange rate has changed, unnecessarily changed, and the door is shutting into the face of a whole bunch of people. They cannot afford the cattle, need to buy sheep. Cannot afford the sheep, need to go to the doves. Cannot afford the doves, therefore has nothing. No hope of restoration. That which the priests are supposed to do to help people to open up a way to God again disappears like fog before the sun into a thin air. Zeal for your house will consume me. Incredibly important difference between this, what we read here in John 2 and what we read in Psalm 69 verse 9. Psalm 69 verse 9, zeal for your house consumes me, says David. He says, I'm so excited about the house of God, there where I get connected with God again. This passion to get connected with God consumes me. Here, zeal for your house will consume me. You see, friends, there where Jesus gets crucified, that is where his zeal for you and me to get reconciled with God will consume him completely. Incredible. With helping the people here to get it. I want you to be connected with God. Nothing should stop you from being connected with God. Nothing should stop you from having your relationship being restored with God. Jesus is saying, I'm going to make this happen. I am God, and I'm going to sacrifice myself. I am going to become your Passover lamb. This cross will consume my entire life. It will drain the blood from me. My body will be broken so that your connection with God can be restored. What he says next helps us to even understand this clearer. The Jews demanded a sign from him. What miraculous sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all this? We read in 2:18 and 2:19. Jesus answers them, destroy this temple, this body, destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days. And again, with so many misunderstandings in the Gospel of John, people just listening to Jesus from an earthly level, look at him from an earthly level. They say to him in verse 20, it has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you are going to raise it in 3 days. But the temple he had spoken of was his body. And after he was raised from the dead, his disciples recalled what he said, and then they believed the scripture and the words that Jesus had spoken. At the cross, another cleansing of the temple happened. Jesus took everything away. Jesus took the law away. Jesus took our guilt away. Jesus took our sin away. He took everything away so that you and I can have an open door to the Holy of Holies, to the presence of God, where our relationship with him can be restored forever. And no man and no devil and no sin and no power in heaven or earth can prevent us ever again from having a precious, pure, holy, real, dynamic, deep relationship with our God. It is available for you. You just need to see it, hear it, get it, don't miss it. And that's how this chapter ends. Verse 23. Now while he was in Jerusalem at the Passover feast, many people saw the miraculous signs he was doing, and they believed in his name. But Jesus would not entrust himself to them, for he knew all men. He did not need man's testimony about man, because he knew what was in a man. You see, dear friends, Jesus does not only want wonder from you. He does not only want you to listen to these Bible sessions and go like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's neat. Oh, I haven't thought about that like that yet. Oh, this is great. Oh, wow, Jesus did that miracle. Wow, that is amazing. He doesn't only want wonder. He wants to be in a relationship with you. He wants you to hear what he has to offer, and then he wants you to walk through the door. He wants you to hear that he's knocking and open the door. He wants to invite you in. He wants a complete connection with you. He says, I am ready to commit completely, to entrust myself completely to you. I am ready to have all of this destroyed for the sake of a deep, true, real relationship with you. But I want you to come in completely. Not just be amazed, not just be in wonder, but wanting this real, true, deep connection. Dear friends, don't miss it. It's right in front of you. In this moment, it had come right to your doorstep, so to speak. Had come right into your presence. God is right there for you. Jesus cleansed the temple. Jesus had made a way for you to be with God at the cross. Why don't you accept it? Let him come in and have a real feast with him Friends, be blessed. See you next time. We jump into John chapter 3. Bye-bye.